السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. البروفيسور المغربي رشيد يزمي من مدينة فاس هو المخترع الذي أطلق أول اختراعاته في سن 26 والذي شارك في أكثر من 140 براءة اختراع تتعلق بتكنولوجيا البطاريات، بما في ذلك أنودات النانوساي والنانوجي لبطاريات الليثيوم فائقة الشحن، وبطارية فلورايد الكربون والليثيوم للتطبيقات الفضائية والطبية. فاز مسبقا بجوائز وتكريمات عديدة خلال مسيرته المهنية في مجال اختصاصه، والتي تعترف بعمله الرائد والمميز في تطوير أمور حيوية تتعلق بالبطاريات وعلم الاستدامة. شارك الأستاذ يزمي في تأليف أكثر من 200 بحث علمي، وهو مبتكر 125 براءة اختراع في جميع أنحاء العالم. هذه القامة العلمية المرموقة نتعرف إليها اليوم أكثر في خاص من الداخل العقول الجميلة. معكم زينب صفار، تابعونا. Well, Professor Yezami, when has your passion and craving for science start?
At age 10.
Wow.
Yes. I was passionate about, science in general, and more particularly geology. And I had a collection of rocks when I was a kid. So I have a hammer, I go outside the city and collect rocks, break them, show them to my professors, and they will tell me the composition and the name of the rock and so on. And later, like 2 years later, I started to be interested in chemistry. And I had a small lab in my house in Fez, city of Morocco. And I started to do some chemical reactions.
So your own experiments?
Absolutely. I was maybe among the first at that time to produce hydrogen.
Wow.
Yes, so I inflated like balloons with hydrogen and then let them go in the sky, and it was like a magic.
Yes, but did you know that you were doing science, or you were just fascinated by the idea of what you are trying to discover?
I think, as soon as I started to read French and Arabic well and understand, I used to go to attend some of the libraries, books and so on, and magazines. But it just was open to try to understand the world. I can read the articles about the progress of science, of knowledge, and what are the main questions for the. That was in the 70s.
Right,
yes,
right.
Yes.
Rashid Yezami, you are the inventor involved in more than 140 patents related to battery technology, including nanosci and nanoG based anodes for ultra-high rate charged lithium batteries, the lithium carbon fluoride battery for space and medical applications, and more recently on liquid anodes. You have also co-authored over 200 scientific papers and articles, and you are the inventor, as we said, of 125 patents worldwide. Let's dive more into your field of expertise when it comes to the specifics of batteries. Can you take us through what you have discovered, sir? How did you make this very huge stride in the science of batteries?
In general, my journey in science, what motivates me is actually when I hear that something is impossible, and I say, why is it impossible? And I try to make it possible. Right. So for instance...
and you succeeded.
Yes. So sometimes I succeeded, sometimes you cannot. So anyway, but actually the invention of the graphite anode that is used in more 100% of cell phones now in a lithium battery came from at that time, it was the late 70s, that lithium cannot be intercalated into graphite in a liquid media. This is electrochemistry. Because what happens if when you try to put lithium inside graphite, there is an expansion of the graphite volume by 300% or more, okay? And that makes the graphite not suitable for rechargeable batteries. So once I understood the reason why, and many people tried, actually unsuccessfully, to put lithium into graphite in a battery, I said, well, how about if I remove the liquid and I put the solid state instead? And I used the solid state polymer, and I succeeded. And it was one of the unforgettable days of my life.
Sure.
Yeah, when I opened the battery cell that I used, you know, to study the intercalation of lithium into graphite, and I found that graphite, which is at the beginning black color material, becoming gold color. And I said, it's not only success for chemistry, but maybe success for alchemistry.
Sure.
Maybe I'm making gold. So anyway, that was really an unforgettable day.
It's not only unforgettable for yourself, sir, but it was also, and it is still unforgettable for all humanity. And this is the essence of science, is that it does not, you know, the effects of it just happen to the person who is discovering, but the effects are for the betterment of all humanity.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, when I did this experiment, I didn't even imagine that in 2021 I would be sitting here and saying this is one of the biggest discovery of a Muslim maybe done for in the 20th century. Yeah,
Were they taken the matter that you discovered at the beginning? Was the matter taken seriously?
Not much. Actually, you know, at that time there was no rechargeable lithium batteries at all. And my discovery opened one part of the, I would say, the difficulty to make a rechargeable battery, because that's graphite material can be used as the minus pole, the negative pole, what we call the anode of the lithium battery.
Sure.
So we needed, of course, a positive pole, and we needed some liquid in between, and those was not available to me at that time. But they were discovered actually the same year, 1979, by Professor John Godinoff, who discovered the cathode side.
Sure.
We didn't know each other. I was just a young, you know, PhD student. And he was a famous professor already, like 55 years old. Now he's close to 100 years old, okay?
Mashallah.
And he got the Nobel Prize in 2019 for his discovery. And it was actually the Japanese who actually put together the cathode from John Godinoff and the anode from myself, and then they assembled it in a cell. The first lithium-ion battery was actually put as a prototype, working prototype, in 1985, 5 years after our discovery.
Right.
And then it took another 6 years to Sony in Japan to put this battery into the market, to commercialize it. So between the invention and the commercialization, more than 10 years.
We will talk more about the issue of batteries and the strides in this kind of science. But speaking about the Nobel Prize of 2019, allow me, sir, to ask you. In October 2019, your co-invention of the lithium-ion battery, as you said, was honored with the 2019 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. However, you, sir, was unfortunately omitted from the award. Why?
I have no clue.
Sure. Up to
okay,
today,
I mean,
you have no clue.
to be honest with you.
Yes. I mean, you were so much tactful in a sense that you praised the others who received the award.
Yes,
you called them,
yeah, of course.
and you said congratulations.
Absolutely, yeah.
Though
they deserve it.
Of course, they
yes,
deserve it.
yes.
But why were you omitted?
Maybe I was the youngest guy among the four ones, so they said Rashid has still maybe another way to show. It's very difficult to answer this question, because I think the Nobel Committee in Chemistry, they had probably a very hard decision to make. Because for the first two ones, like Professor John Godinoff and Dr. Yoshino, there's no doubts. They were the one who really brought the technology to the, you know, to the markets and made the invention. And then I think, I'm not sure, but there was maybe a discussion about who would be number 3. So either Stanley Whittingham who is a good professor. I know him, etc. We work together and we know each other for a long time. Or Rashid Yazami. All right. So, yeah.
I don't want you to justify.
No,
you
no.
no.
I'm not justifying. I'm just telling you what was the situation for the committee.
Sure.
And the Nobel Prize, unlike other prizes, like the Draper Prize, which I received, yes. Sure. The Nobel Prize can actually recognize a concept, even if the concept is not working. If I just say the examples I give for my concept is an example that has never worked. Stanley Whittingham came with a battery with a cathode, a plus pole, which is an intercalation material. And that's the concept of using an intercalation material as the cathode for lithium batteries was right. But the titanium disulfide, which he showed as example, never worked. So Nobel Prize can recognize something that doesn't work.
But they are interested in the concept.
But the concept.
Sure.
But now, when I heard this and people ask me, why do I said, well, I think the head of the Nobel Prize Committee in Chemistry, when he called the laureate, he used my invention in his telephone. And he knew it. And he should have some problem, because if he removes my invention, the graphite anode, from his telephone, his cell phone will not work at all.
Sure.
So anyway, just, you know.
This is a reward in itself.
Exactly,
this is a reward in itself. Nobel, without Nobel, we are so very proud of having people like yourself who make our life, honestly and frankly, a better life by just being in it and giving us all this betterment for all humanity. Dr. Yazami, allow us to stop now for a short break, and afterwards we will continue to talk about the science of batteries and some up close and personal questions, but after the break. إذا فاصل قصير ونعود. لا تذهب بعيدا. البروفيسور المغربي رشيد اليزمي أستاذ علوم المواد والهندسة والمبتكر الرائد الذي أرسى أسس العمل على بطاريات الليثيوم آيون، الحائز العديد من الجوائز العالمية. كيف يقيم جائزة المصطفى التي تمنحها مؤسسة المصطفى للعلوم والتكنولوجيا كل عامين للتميز العلمي؟
I think this Mustafa Prize initiative is great because for somehow the purpose is actually to put together all the Islamic world, people from Islamic origin, not necessarily, you know, doing their research or whatever in an Islamic country, but maybe outside the Islamic, but they're spreading the Islamic knowledge, you know, as Muslims, because they grow in their country and then they went, like myself, to Europe, others to America, others to many places in Asia and so on. This is very good because this initiative puts a little bit more on the achievement and maybe the idea that when the Muslim world was leading, you know, in the Middle Ages, maybe it's coming back somehow. And we have to promote those spirits, high spirits, and people who are working for, you know, the improvements of life, humanity, and so on, which are from Islamic origin. So, and also it's a message for young people from the Islamic world to say, yes, we can. Yeah, we also, you know, because the image that we have, Islamophobia and so on, gives some young people like the image that they are not so important in the world. But they are, actually, and they are very creative, and they are very, you know, ambitious to bring something. What
is your message in this sense, sir, out of this whole experience to the youth, to the young researchers in the Islamic world?
Well, to tell them, you know, for instance, my invention, I did it when I was 26 years old.
Yes.
Quite young.
Yes.
Okay, so it means the age is not a limit. Imagination is always there. But you have to put yourself in maybe conditions Some of them you can control, some of them you cannot control, and then you may come with something that is exceptional.
Sure.
Okay? So everyone can do that. It's not like limited, but of course you have to have a kind of which we call the planet's alignment, you know, to get this very strong idea or something that may change the world. So this is absolutely what's happened to me, and I wasn't 100% responsible for it, you know, to be honest with you. It's just
you are gifted at the end of the day,
somehow,
yes.
Somehow, yes.
We have to believe in this, but
yes.
also people need to persevere, they need to be dedicated, they have to put effort into it, and they have to believe in themselves.
Yeah, because this is all a result of hard work, of perseverance, and belief in ourselves, and also, you know, respect some values. You know, that's very important. The values, you know, what's characterized the Islamic world. I mean,
exactly.
Yes, as Muslim, we respect others. We are, you know, tolerant, and you know, we love science. We always loved science. I mean, so
and patience to reach the target and the aim that we aspire for. I heard you say something very funny, that you have 2 marriages in your life.
Yes.
You're married to your wife, the first one, and the second one to science.
Correct.
Which takes precedence over the other, or you are fa'dilu?
Well, I mean, it's like asking me what I prefer, my right eyes or left eye. Both, we need them.
Yes.
So they are complementary. She knows that, you know, without her I would not be able to do lots of things. And she was really, how to say, because my journey took me to many places in the world. And she had the flexibility actually to accompany me in
You're both now in Singapore?
We are both in Singapore. We spent like 11 years in Singapore now, but before we spent 10 years in California. And we also lived in France for another 10 or 15 years. So it's a whole thing, because if I had like a wife that doesn't like to go abroad or something, it may have, you know, somehow
stress. It would be stressful for you. But how much time, sir, do you dedicate to your family? Is there a specific time that you give to your family?
Okay. Actually, what happens? First, I am an international scientist, and I'm invited to many places. My wife knows that. So when she likes the place where I'm going, she accompanies me. Sometimes she said, no, I don't want to go to this place, and so on, because either the time is too short or she's not interested to go to some places. So that's the way we are connected together, by traveling. Like this time we are in Iran. We spent 1 week in Shiraz and Isfahan. She loved it. She's just very happy. And we did it for many countries. India, we went to Sri Lanka, we went to Japan, we went to many different places in the world. So in America many times.
And now you ended up in Singapore, where you have your own enterprise there. And tell me here, sir, you not only worked with the science, but you feel that science without commercializing the science is nothing. Tell us more about this enterprise, please.
Okay, so as you mentioned, I have more than 150, maybe 170 patents, and the patents is useless if you don't try to commercialize them, because they are inventions. And filing patents costs a lot of money, so you want to have some kind of return on your investments. So actually the spirit of entrepreneurship, I started it much earlier than when I went to America or to Singapore. In France already I had many collaboration with companies, and I was a consultant for companies and so on. Until now I'm still consulting for companies, non-stop from 1985 to now. I'm always consulting for companies. So the company world has never been for me a kind of, oh, I'm afraid, because it's totally different world. Many scholars actually they don't like to go to industry, or something. They are a little bit skeptical. But anyway, I mean, I started the company in Singapore in 2011, just a few months after I arrived to Singapore. And now it's like 10 years later. And since then, I started many other companies. So I have a total of like 6 or 7 companies in Singapore. And Singapore is a very good country actually for entrepreneurship. They support you. They will give you, you know, space. You can pay space cheaper than other places. They are very supportive.
So they are very supportive and receptive of you in the country.
Absolutely. The battery world is now as a really big, you know, expansion, like more than 20% a year until 2030, 2040. And it's driven by 2 markets. One is, as you said, stationary energy storage. And the other is electric mobility, cars and trucks and everything that moves now, including airplanes. They will be electrical very soon, okay? So this is like a revolution.
Of course.
It's industrial revolution, it's energy revolution. And the batteries,
and it's green friendly.
It is. Actually, when you look at the life cycle of batteries, of course we produce some CO2 if we produce batteries. But the benefits to, you know, the environment is much bigger than if we don't use them.
Sure.
And plus the cost of energy, if we can produce solar energy from sun or from wind, it's almost free. After a few years, you know, you invest some money, you have back from your investment. And then for many years, for 20, 30 years, you can have energy almost for free, except maintenance or something like that. But this means that people will afford to have more access to energy. And very important, because energy is not only for electric mobility or energy storage for houses, but also for, you know, the desalination of water. We need to have clean water for, you know, drinking, for agriculture, so it will improve the agriculture, the production of food and so on. So this is a huge...
And to improve the quality of our lives.
Everything, yes.
That's very true. Moroccan scientist and renowned engineer and inventor, Professor Rashid Yezmi, many thanks indeed for joining us for this من الداخل special Beautiful Minds.
Thank you very much again for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
والشكر لكم مشاهدينا الكرام على طيب المتابعة. للتفاعل أكثر تابعونا على صفحات السوشيال ميديا، وحتى نلتقي من كل فريق عمل من الداخل من كل الميادين من طهران. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.